Welcome to the Age is Irrelevant podcast with your host, Helen Fritsch. Helen is a 60-plus lifelong competitive athlete, flight attendant, published fitness model, writer, IFBB bodybuilding pro, and certified wine specialist who believes that your age is irrelevant to pursue goals, dreams, and desires. Are you a woman in her 40s, 50s, 60s, and beyond who still has a burning desire to pursue a dream or a passion? Are you thinking about starting a new chapter in your life, but you're hesitant, thinking that you might be too old or just don't know where to begin? The Age is Irrelevant podcast is a podcast devoted to women who want to defy the odds, smash barriers, and redefine happiness and success after 40. It's time to make a difference. There is no need to dread blowing out that added birthday candle every year. A new movement is slowly taking momentum, where being over the hill just isn't relevant anymore. Age labels are being thrown out the window, and women are rediscovering the strength within themselves to make a difference, not only within their own lives, but also touching and inspiring the lives of other women. Join Helen as she and her guests discuss all aspects of aging after 40 and how to make the aging process and those twilight years more rewarding, exciting, and fun.
Hello, and welcome to the Age is Irrelevant podcast. I'm your host, Helen Fritsch, and this is episode number 96. This is my first episode of the year, and I sure hope that it finds you in a great spot starting off your new 2024 year, and that your good tidings do continue throughout the year. Now, today I am interviewing a 60-year-old devoted wife and mother of 7, personal trainer, online fitness and nutrition coach, and social media influencer, Dalyce Radtke. Dalyce caught my eye because so many of us will come up with excuses of we don't have time to work out, yet Dalyce shows you on her social media page that you can take 3 or 4 simple yet very effective exercises if you carve out 10, 15, 20 minutes and turn those exercises into a great workout that can actually yield impressive results and can be done in the comfort of your home or just about anywhere, especially if you're traveling like me. What also I loved about her social media page is that she features her 91-year-old mom, who is a prime example of living her best life. She also is a participant of resistance training and movement, walking, mobility training, and she looks amazing and is living a fantastic life. Really very motivational. We have a great conversation about what it was like in the day doing step aerobics and what the gym was like back then, what it's like now versus what it's like now, and how important nutrition and fitness and moving is really to all of us at any age. And the earlier you start, the better it's going to be for you. I hope you enjoyed this conversation. We had a lot of fun chatting, and we will start this conversation right now. Here we go. Hi, Dalyce. Welcome to the show.
Good morning.
Oh, that's so funny. It is morning where you are. It's afternoon.
Well, it actually is 12:30, so it's not morning. But like I said, I lose track of time.
But you're in Phoenix, and I'm in Charlotte, North Carolina. So anyway, I'm so happy to be able to connect with you. I've been following you for a bit. I just think you're very motivational, especially with the size of your family, and we can get into all that. But for my listeners, I am speaking with 60-year-old devoted wife and mother of 7, Dalyce Radtke. Dalyce is a multitasking force to be reckoned with. Raising 7 kids has bestowed upon her invaluable time management and multitasking skills. She's translated these abilities into simple, exciting workouts that yield impressive results and can be done in the comfort of home or anywhere. Dalyce is excited that with her recent launch of her online fitness and nutrition program, it is now accessible to women anywhere in the world. And her mission, to ignite your fitness journey and demonstrate that time is no obstacle. And that last part I absolutely love. So,
you know that.
Yeah, for sure. And I always like to start off with my guests from the very beginning. So can you run us through your childhood, where you're born, and all that fun stuff?
Sure. Well, I was born in Canada, so I have dual citizenship. Most of my family still lives in Canada. At a young age, my father actually passed away at a very young age, at the age of 36, and I was only 2.5. My mom was left a widow, 4 children under the age of 4, or under the age of 8. And probably 2 years after that, remarried, moved us down to the United States. So we moved down to Las Vegas. That's when Vegas started booming. I grew up in Las Vegas. Was there till about grade 10, then moved back to Canada. I graduated high school in Canada and stayed there for a few more years. Met and married my future husband, had my first baby in Canada. And then from Canada, after my first baby was born, we moved back down to the States again. It brought us back down here with work. And I've been down here ever since. So from Canada to California, lived in California quite a few years, California to Arizona, Arizona to Texas. We just moved back from Texas about 7 months ago, back here to Arizona. So we're back to where we raised our older 5 kids. They grew up here pretty much. And so now I'm back here. Yeah, so I'm back here in Arizona.
I'm sure you don't miss those Canadian winters.
You know what? I've lived in quite a few places in Canada. I'm from Kelowna, BC, so the winters aren't too bad there. You know, you get some snow, but it's not that bad. But I have lived in Edmonton, and I've lived through a few really extreme winters. I don't miss. No.
Yeah, that's for sure. So tell me about when you were in school. Were you involved in sports?
Growing up, I was involved in dancing. So I think about around the age of 8, I was in dancing, different kinds of dance, tap, jazz, ballet, tumbling, that kind of stuff. I did that for quite a few years up until I got to high school. Then in high school, I was cheerleading after I graduated. It was just gym. I joined a gym at a young age, I think 19. That's when aerobics became really popular, and all that high intensity aerobics and step aerobics. And I think the minute that I joined a gym, I fell in love with the gym. I loved the gym atmosphere. I loved the motivation. I loved the people I was surrounded with. And I never looked back. So I've always had a gym membership, and I've always loved going to the gym and the routine of getting up and going to the gym. So that's where that's where I ended up.
That's great. And kind of the same with me, lifelong competitive athlete in high school and in college. But when I graduated from college, I continued to work out, but I think, and I would go to the gym too, because I also loved the gym, and I would kind of go through weights and stuff like that, but just nothing as intense as what I'm doing today. So if you were going to the gym, was there a specific time where you kind of clicked or a light bulb went off and you thought, I need to step up my intensity, or I need to, really figure out what could be? Because, for example, for me, when I was going through and lifting weights, I wasn't really paying any attention to my form. I just was kind of picking out things that I just did along the way. So it's interesting, where we are today, and you look back what happened back then.
Yeah, I think, there's probably a couple of different moments. I think actually quite young, probably at the age of 19, 20, going into the gym, actually in Calgary, Canada, and seeing there's a few women there that stood out. Back then, bodybuilding wasn't even really talked about for women back then, back in the 80s. But there was a few women there that looked amazing. They're bodybuilders, more of the figure competitive bodybuilder look that still looked really feminine. And it was very unusual, and I loved their look. I was like, how'd they get there? I'm sure you remember Rachel McClish.
Oh, I loved her. Yes.
Oh my gosh. So I bought all of her books, and that's who was my hero, and that's who I emulated. And I from her books, I knew that having something structured and really learning to perfect the form was important. So, and I love doing that, So that was a light bulb moment of just seeing women, of how they got there and what they did. And then probably again, I'd say after baby number 5, where I was teaching fitness classes and kind of partnered with a gentleman that was a bodybuilder in his studio, and I worked as a personal trainer. He was training men, I was training women. And that's just before I tried my first figure competition. I never even really thought to do that. I had people often saying, you should just try one. You should try one. And I thought, you know what? I've had 5 kids. I think I was 43 at the time, 42 at the time. And I thought, you know what? I should try. It's something I've never done. I would love the process. It would be a great challenge. And so my first figure competition, I think, is where I really had to step up my game, where I had a trainer train me and showed me the steps of what it takes to get there, what I had to do. And I kind of knew, but I needed someone to really guide me. And that was probably the second time where I was like, okay, this is what it takes, this is what you have to do. And I trained obviously I had to train a little bit different.
Right, yes. I loved Rachel. I loved Corey Everson.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Monica Brandt.
Yes, all of those.
when magazines were big, I subscribed to Muscle and Fitness, and would be waiting every month to run to the mailbox.
Me too.
To look at all the pictures, and then at the end, it showed them doing all their shows and stuff. And I was just
Oxygen magazine. I mean,
absolutely
my favorite. Yeah.
I actually had her on my podcast several years ago.
Who's that?
Oh my God. I can picture her. Her and her husband owned Oxygen magazine. Oh my gosh.
Toscarino.
Yeah, Toscarino. Yes. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So same. I follow her too. I mean, all of them. To me, they're just like icons, and I've learned so much from them. And yeah.
Right. So let me just talk to you about when you started your first competition, because I know I turned 55, and I asked around thinking I want to get into the best shape of my life before I turn 60. So I asked around, people said, oh, you should consider bodybuilding shows. And one of my hobbies is wine. I'm a certified wine specialist.
Okay.
So I was working at a wine shop part-time and, drinking wine almost every day. And then, I was told that I'd have to cut out wine and get on the strict diet, like for at least 12 weeks, maybe 16. And I just thought, that's not going to happen. So I kind of shelved it. But 6 months later, I was kind of thrown into this little scenario, and then I got talked into doing a show that was in a month. Well, you and I both know that you can't prep for a show in a month, but I didn't know. And I thought I was like a rat in a maze. I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know what I was supposed to eat. But it all kind of fell into place, and I couldn't believe my body transformation in just a quick, short month. And I competed in this little 35 plus category bikini, because finally bikini had started, because I think when you probably first competed, there was just only figure and bodybuilding, right?
I think they probably just started having bikini back then. Yeah.
But anyway, so I loved it, and then just, continued to compete. And even today, like right now, I'm not prepping for any shows, but I'm still, cooking all my food, and when I'm meal prepping all the time, and take all my food with me on my trips and stuff like that when I go to work.
Yeah.
So let's talk about food, because you are starting this new online fitness and nutrition program. But how important did food start? I mean, where was the importance of food, as far as I know? Probably when you started your training for your competition, but after that, did you kind of stay along that path, or did you kind of get back into your old ways? Or,
you know what, to be honest with you, growing up, if you go back to childhood, my parents were pretty strict with food growing up, so it created a base or a foundation for me that makes it simple now as an adult to make healthy food choices. Back then, it was like, oh my gosh, my parents are so strict. I can't have this, I can't have that. They were more like on the extreme side of you can't have certain things, which I don't believe. But they were very mindful of what we ate as children. So we weren't allowed to have like junk food, and we were really limited on sugar and portion control. Like way back then, they were really mindful of that. So now as an adult, it's easy for me to make healthy food choices. That's not difficult for me. And I'm also mindful of portion sizes, because it's just in me. It's like second nature to me to know what a portion is, a healthy portion. So when I did my figure competition, and as you know, it's probably the hardest part of the whole training process. Mm-hmm. It was like, my problem for me was you have to eat so much that it was difficult for me to eat the required amount every single day. That was almost like medicine. I have to eat this and time it. So after the show, was it easy to go or hard to go back to what I was eating before, or easy? It was easy for me to go back to way 8 because it was difficult to eat that much food, but it wasn't far off the beaten path of as far as like the healthy choices that I make. I kind of eat that way anyway,
Right. And
it's more the amount that was tough.
Right, right. And I go through that too, especially if I'm in a bulk phase and I'm trying to get all my meals in and I'm like, oh my God, I still have, two more meals and it's already, 6 o'clock at night.
I know. Oh, I know. Gosh, I know.
Yeah. And how about with your kids now? Do you kind of parlay into that with them also?
Yeah, I think it's just they learn by example. We talk about it a lot though because I have 5 older kids that live in California, and I still have 2 kids at home. I have a 13-year-old and a 15-year-old. So, they just they see what we eat, and I don't make separate meals for them, so they eat what we eat. But we talk about it a lot, so I don't tell them they can't have certain things. We're a family that loves dessert. I'm a huge dessert fan. But they know that they have to eat dinner and make a healthy food choice before they have a dessert. So I don't ever say you can't have this or you can't have that. I let them make their own food choices, and like they're pretty good about it. They just intuitively they know what we eat and they know what's good and what's not good, and they know if they choose something bad one day, it's like, okay, well, tomorrow I just won't have that.
Right, right.
I think we're pretty balanced. I just like to live balanced. I don't have restrictions on anything really.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
Yeah.
One of the things I was obviously so impressed by you is that, you do have 7 kids and you don't see that too often these days.
Yeah.
And, in your bio, you made a comment about how I would imagine you are a expert multitasker. And I think a lot of women, that's the biggest part, or that's the hardest part of trying to incorporate fitness into their livelihood, because a lot of times we quote unquote don't have time.
Right.
So what are some things that you can talk about as far as making time, or, fun little tricks that you might even play with yourself thinking, well, I need to do this before I do that?
Well, I just think that, like you said, make time. I think the hardest part for women or the challenge is, I think they overthink it and think it's an all or nothing mindset. They think if they don't get an hour workout in, oh shoot, I didn't get to work out today. I think you need to do it in small steps for it to be something that you're going to do consistently and make it last long term. Is it doesn't, especially over time. For me, I used to work out for an hour and a half sometimes, 3 or 4 days a week, because I was an instructor and I was at the gym and I teach an hour or 2 classes. I don't have time for that anymore. And I've realized in the last few years that you don't have to have that much time. You only need, if you can get 10 minutes here and 10 minutes there, and then 10 minutes there, that adds up to 30 minutes by the end of the day. But if you need to do it consistently. So whether you set your clock for 15 minutes earlier in the morning to get up, or whether you do it just before you go to bed, or whether you put your phone down, for 10 minutes of the day and then do it then. Because I honestly think that everyone can find 10 minutes. I mean, nowadays, everyone's on a phone, at least for 10 minutes scrolling on the phone, looking at something. We all get sidetracked. And I just think everyone can find 10 minutes. And that's all it takes. It's just consistency. But in those 10 minutes, do something that's going to make a change. Do something that could be challenging, that's going to make a change. So for 10 minutes, you might do, 2 exercises back to back where you're increasing your heart rate and the exercise is challenging. In those 10 minutes could give you as great as a result of something you do in 30 minutes where you're just like doing something, resting, and then getting sidetracked on your phone and then resting,
Right, right. And that's a great tip that I think anybody could use, just like you were mentioning, anywhere, at home, on the road, in a hotel room, is that you set your timer on your watch or your phone for 10 minutes. And then you have your bands or, whatever you have. If you're, it's kind of funny. I spent the night in Hartford, Connecticut last night, and they have a gym there. And it's actually a gym that people use on the outside also.
Yeah.
The equipment in there is so old and so run down, and I get in there and I'm just like, it just totally unmotivates me.
Yeah, yeah.
And I'm like, well, okay, just let's just get through it. But just like you said, there's accessibility everywhere. And even over when I'm flying to Europe, the little workout rooms they have in the hotels are really bad. And
yeah.
I have to bring my own stuff, and I'm still may go to the gym, especially if I'm in the middle of a competition prep. But I agree with you 100%. 10 here, 10 there. As a matter of fact, I actually normally have a set of 10-pound dumbbells like on my dining room table, or I'll have bands in my room. Before I go to bed, I'm like, I'm going to do, 50 laterals, back and forth, back and forth. Or if I'm watching TV, I'll grab those 10-pound weights and I'm like, I'm going to do 50 sets or 50 reps. So, and you're right.
I just think there's no, we have so many available times during the day, even though we're busy to do stuff, like you, when I travel, I agree. I think some of the hotel gyms are like, I go in, I go, oh my God, this is so unmotivating just to go down there in the elevator. But it's the time, for me, it's time consuming too. It's like to go down there to, so I actually travel with my resistance bands everywhere I go. Mm-hmm. I always use them and I always have a plan. And I think it's another good tip for women is like, plan it. Like especially if you're traveling. In my head the night before, I even write it down. I'm going to get up a half an hour earlier. My kids are getting ready or my husband's taking a shower or whatever. And I'm going to do something in a hotel room. I don't even go down to the hotel gym anymore. I just do it in the room because then I don't have to change. I don't have to walk down the stairs or whatever. And I do a resistance band workout. Whether it's bands or body weight, I'll put together 3 or 4 exercises and I go, okay, we need to leave the room by this time. So I'm going to give myself 20 minutes to get this in. I'm going to look at my clock. I'm doing these 4 exercises and then I'll get them in. And then I get ready for the date and it's done. I don't have to worry about during the day or if we have plans later at night for dinner or whatever, it's done. And I do the same thing at home. Like if I'm cooking dinner, I'd say half of my videos on Instagram or stuff. I work out in my kitchen. I have a full studio gym in my garage, like completely full. Most of my workouts I do in the house is my gym's cold right now. And in the summer it's hot. So right. I probably get 7 months where it is nice. I get a good temperature in there. But for me, it's time consuming because I can stay in the house and I've got my desk right here in the middle of the living room. I've got like a standing desk and I'll do a 15-minute workout and I know that I've got to check my online client. So I'll go onto my computer for 30 minutes and then I'll go, okay, I'm going to take a break. I'm going to go finish my last 2 exercises for 10 minutes and I come back to the kitchen floor and do a mirror. So I plan it in my head. My husband's, he laughs at me and my kids say, what are you doing, Mom? I do it all day long. Like if I didn't get it in because I had to go take someone to, to a practice, a hockey practice, I'll run in the house and I'll put something on the stove. And while something's boiling on the stove, I might finish my push-ups. I do it throughout the day because I don't feel good in my mind or my body if I go to bed at night and I know I did not get my workout in. I know you can relate to that.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Right. Yeah.
Absolutely. So yeah, and that's motivating to hear because there really is no excuse because we all have 10 minutes to scroll through on social media, right?
Right. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
So we can also, put aside 10 minutes here and there to.
I do it at my kids' activities too. Especially living somewhere where the weather's nice. If your kids play soccer or they have an outdoor sport or whether they're indoors, like I've got hockey player boys. So I would take him to the rink and there's always usually stairs somewhere, right? And I would drop them off at their practice. And while I'm waiting, they had stairs there. So I would do the stairs and I would do push-ups and then I'd find a railing and I'd do push-ups and I do squats. And people were like, I know a lot of parents were like, what are you doing? And it would just always like surprise me that people stand and watch, they stand around and watch a soccer practice or a hockey practice or whatever you're at. But you could be walking. You have to watch every practice. You could be walking. I even tried to form groups where while the parents are watching the soccer, I'll do like a little mini, I'm not even going to charge you, a mini boot camp. And no one really wants to do it. And so I'm like, it always surprised me that there's opportunities that you can do things, but sometimes people don't want to do it.
Well, that's true. And it all starts up here. Let's talk about mindset.
Yeah, right. Exactly. That's exactly where it starts, is a mindset. You have to want it bad enough, but you have to want it bad enough to actually do something about it. Right.
Right. And I really think that women over 40 and 50, there's a lot of changes. People are going through menopause. People are becoming empty nesters. People may be changing their relationship status. And so, there's really a lot going on. So mindset can definitely affect all of this. I've recently been injured. And so that's kind of been playing with my head because I can't, I have a partially torn rotator cuff now. So dealing with that and I'm not happy about it. And I'm kind of having to rework my workouts and, whatever. But mindset is so important. And I just really feel like, a lot of women get in this stagnant mode over the age of 40, 50 and beyond, and they can't get themselves out of it.
Right. I think it's because I think quite a few women, or just people in general, have taken so much time off of actually doing something consistently that the longer you are away from it, the harder it is to just jump back in. Mm-hmm. And I think with social media, and the great thing is there's a lot of information out there, a lot of great information out there. There's videos and free videos and everywhere you look. But I think because there's so much, is overwhelming too. So for someone that's been out of it for a long time, I think it's overwhelming to jump back into it because you're wondering, where do I start?
Yeah, that's true too. Of course, COVID didn't help either. I had a gym in my house, and you probably did too. So I was like, that was my saving grace.
Oh my gosh, you're right. I had people asking to use my gym. Yeah. And I just think it's and I feel for people that they're either beginners or they've been out it for a while, because it is overwhelming. Like where do I start? Over time I've put weight on, like you said, with COVID, even extra weight on, and become even more sedentary with COVID. And it is hard to jump back in to know where to start. But that's why I think it's to just really think simple, like start off small, like just simply walking. Like everyone's talking about walking right now, and it's so true. It's like, I don't know about you, but like years ago, someone said to me, just walking, I would think, what? I mean, I love high intensity cardio. I was a kickbox instructor, like step aerobics, all spinning. I love the high intensity because I love that high of it. I love the adrenaline rush. But over time, and as we hit a certain age, all that stress on our body, it doesn't work for us as well, or it actually works against us as far as seeing results and stress on our body. And walking is like the best thing we can do. I mean, it's so simple. Like, just like I said, if you're at your kids' practice, I've seen some parents, they actually just get your earpods out and just go for a walk while your kids are playing soccer.
Yeah,
that's like one of the best things you can do.
You're exactly right. And I've gotten into rucking now too. So I've got like a 10-pound and a 20-pound vest, and especially out in Arizona now, the weather is just so beautiful normally.
Yeah.
And I have a really nice little neighborhood and a park close by. So, and I have a bike too. So I, try to take advantage of the beautiful scenery and, I agree. Walking is.
But see, that's something simple you can do. Like you say, rucking, do you wear a vest or you wear a backpack?
I have a vest.
Oh, you wear the vest, okay. But just simply, if someone says, "Well, I don't have a vest," it's like you can put a backpack on, right? Yes. And just go for a walk, go for a hike. It's just simple things. It's just getting those steps in. They'll see results if they just do a little more today than you were doing yesterday, and you'll feel better and you'll see results over time, right?
You're right. So let's talk about your mom, because your mom is I think pretty well known. You guys are like the little dynamic duo here. Your mom she's 91 now.
She's 91. You know what, Helen? I'm just going to grab my charging cord because I just noticed my computer is going to die. I forgot to plug it in. Yep. I'm just going to go grab it real quick.
Yep.
I'm almost. She is soon to be 92, actually. She's 91. She's soon to be 92. And you're right. She's, I get this question a lot. She doesn't have a cell phone, doesn't want a cell phone, because I've tried to get her one many times. And so she obviously doesn't have social media. So I know I have a lot of people that say, your mom should have her own account. She should post more. But she honestly... She's a pretty good sport when I videotape her, but she really doesn't love it. I show it back to her. She's like, oh, I don't look good in that video, or oh, I look so old. Because, the thing is, and she's said this many times before, and I feel the same way, and I think a lot of people as age feel this way. She doesn't feel any different than when she was in her 30s. So when she sees herself in a video and she sees wrinkles, she's like, I really look like that? I can't believe I look like that. So I don't feel like I look like that. So it's kind of, it's difficult for her sometimes to see the videos because she honestly doesn't love it that much.
Right. So now, has she been active her entire life, or did you kind of nudge her along that way?
She's always, let me put it this way. She's never been sedentary. She's always been a busy mom of 5 kids. So she's, I've never seen her sit down and relax and really watch TV. She's always kind of been on the go. And she worked, growing up. So she had a physical, it was a kind of job that she was on her feet. And then later in life, I'd say, 50s towards 60s, she had a physical job working in a hospital. So she's always been active, but never, gym going, never, back then, no, women didn't do weights. She didn't exercise and sweat and none of that. Yeah, they didn't do any of that. So no, but she's always been active.
And when did you nudge her into weightlifting? Or
you know what? And I wouldn't even attribute me to it. I've always been. I mean, she's obviously seen what I do with teaching classes and stuff. But it was really basically when she turned 65, where she worked in Canada. It was at a hospital, and that was a hospital policy. When you turn 65, you had to retire. It's probably different now, but she was forced into retirement. And she was physical, and it was a physical job. She was there 5 days a week doing physical things. And she noticed over time when she retired that she just didn't feel the same because she was sitting more. She didn't have that same physical routine. And she noticed her strength was starting to lose some of her strength. And it was kind of a wake-up call for her. She's like, you know what? I don't feel as strong. I don't feel as good. I don't feel as energetic. I need to do something if I want to keep doing what I'm doing, or I'm going to go downhill. And so she took it upon herself to join a gym. And at 65, she joined a big box gym. I think it was probably a world gym and like a bodybuilder gym. And went in there as a newbie because I was living in the States and she was in Canada. And just watched people as she was on the treadmill and just kind of learned as she went. It made it, a routine of going 3 to 4 days a week consistently. And she loves the routine. And she just likes to challenge herself. She doesn't feel like she's competing with anyone. And she likes the atmosphere, and she feels better when she leaves. And that's 65. It's gotten her this far, and she feels better. And if she doesn't work out, she knows, she's like you and I, she doesn't feel good. So if it's like, even if I go to visit her, which I'm actually going up there soon, if I'm only there for 7 days, it's not like, well, I'll take off 7 days just so we can hang out. She's still on her routine. It's like, okay, well, but I won't be home Monday, Wednesday, or Friday. And I go to the gym with her, but she doesn't break her, she's probably like us, she doesn't break her routine. She still goes to the gym Monday, Wednesday,
right,
consistently. Yeah.
Is her husband still alive?
My mom's?
Yeah.
No, she remarried and he passed away when she turned, I think, 63.
Oh,
I think she was probably in early 60s. Yeah. So she's been alone for 30 years.
Yeah.
And happy.
Right.
She's got her own little apartment and she's very happy and very self-sufficient, and she lives a full life, and she's had the same routine for 35 years. And yeah.
Where does she live?
She lives up in British Columbia in Kelowna, BC. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and my sisters, and I've got two sisters that live up there near her, and she's near family.
That's awesome. Well, that's really incredible. I mean, because so many simple things, like, when I get on social media and I try to promote, simple exercises, just like the squat, but you can take the squat and you can bring it into real life, because when you get in and out of a chair, that's a squat. When you're getting in and out of the car, that's a squat. When you drop something, you have to bend down and pick it up. That's a squat. So over this past year, I've had a couple good falls, as far as like being in Europe and then just doing face plants on cobblestone streets, just because. Yeah. And it really hurt myself, but didn't break any bones, thank God. And the doctors, when I went to the hospital just to get x-rays, they were like, you're 66, you should be upstairs as a patient. And what's your secret? And I'm like, my secret's lifting weights. That's why I haven't broken any bones, knock on wood. Right. But just simple exercises, weight-bearing exercises, resistance training. I mean, it's just the key to longevity.
Well, it's like interesting you say that. My mom did fall about 6 months ago. She had quite a bad fall. The phone rang really early in the morning, unusually, and it kind of startled her. So she thought, maybe that's weird. I mean, she thought maybe there's an emergency. So she actually got up out of bed and tripped. I think a lot of older people, or a lot of people in general, trip on the corner of a carpet.
Oh.
And she tripped on it. And she says, I've walked over that thousands of times. I know it's there, but somehow she tripped on it. But she fell face first onto the linoleum floor, and like literally like face first. And she called me later in the afternoon and she told me, and I was like, oh my gosh, Mom, are you all right? Like your hip, your shoulder, did you hurt anything? She said, no, it's just, I don't think I broke my nose, but I fell flat on my face. But it took me a while to get up because I was in shock, right? And then she got up, she realized, I'm fine. There's nothing broken. I can move. But she did have a headache. And then literally probably about 6 hours later, she started to get a black eye, right? And then another black eye. So she woke up the next day. Long story short, she had like 2 black eyes, and the bridge of her nose is all black and blue. My older sister said, let's just take you to the hospital just to get it checked, just to be on the safe side. Mom's like, no, I'm fine. But she went anyway. And they did a brain scan on her and everything. And they said everything, they were shocked. First of all, the girls that did the intake were like, wait, how old are you? And my mom's like, I'm 91. They were like, are you the one that's 91? Because we don't see no one in the waiting room 91. She goes, my mom, I'm 91. And they're like, wow. And then they said, everything, you're lucky you didn't get a concussion. And they said, you're really lucky actually that you didn't get like severely hurt or like could have killed her. Mm-hmm. But she ended up probably for a week, she had 2 black raccoon eyes and her bridge of her nose. And I've got a friend that's an emergency room doctor, and he saw a picture of her. I showed him a picture on my cell phone, and he said, wow, he said, you know how dangerous that is? He goes, your mom, when you have blood vessels broken around your nose, and there's certain areas on her face that I wouldn't know of. And he said, when you get that is very, very dangerous. She's lucky that she didn't it didn't kill her. And I go, wow. So, and it wouldn't have been worse. And the reason I'm saying this, it probably would have been worse if she weren't as flexible as she is, because I think she fell in a way where she kind of caught herself and was okay. But anyone else, I think they would have broken a hip or a shoulder or something worse.
I agree. And I keep reading over and over all these studies done that people over 60, 60% of these people pass away. And it's not from the fall, but it's due to complications because that they're not in shape, that their bones aren't strong, that they end up in the hospital, they contract pneumonia, or some type of something. And it's, I've had relatives that's happened to.
Right. Well, I mean, there's things that my mom does that I know when I post them, people are like, wow, I can't believe your mom's 91. When I repeat that to her, she's like, I don't understand what the big deal is. And there are things that you just mentioned. It's like when you sit in a chair or you go to sit into your car seat, that's a squat. I mean, my mom does them effortlessly and they're second nature to her because she's been doing them all these years, and that's what I try. And I tell my older kids, and they know because I've talked about it so much, but like the younger generation it's not just to do it right now to look good. Like we're not doing squats just to look good or to build your glutes or whatever. That's one reason. But really, we should be doing all of this at a young age to prevent our future bodies, right? To protect our future bodies. Like, what do you want to be able to do when you're older? I mean, there's a lot of people now that are in their 30s, 40s, 50s that can't do any of those. Mm-hmm. Squats are difficult for a lot of people. I mean, they're even finding that, and this is crazy. I was just reading this a couple of weeks ago. There's a study that they're finding that kindergartners are having a hard time. Back in the day, we used to all sit on the floor in preschool, kindergarten, crisscross. Your legs get up and down. Well, because a lot of preschoolers are put in chairs now, they're having a hard time getting down on the floor and getting back up. And those are children. Those are children.
That's incredible.
I mean, look at playgrounds nowadays. A lot of kids, I see it with my kids. A lot of kids don't even really play on the playground. Especially if you give them a cell phone. We used to do jungle gyms, hopscotch, jump rope. All of that are just calisthenics, and those are considered workouts now. We were doing workouts as children years ago, and now playgrounds, kids are walking around with their cell phones or standing around and talking or sitting down. Like they're not really doing physical things that we did as children. And that's a problem. When a young kid can't do all those basic skills that we did without even thinking, years ago. Now we have to teach children how to do those things,
Right.
Which is crazy. It should be second nature. Like to be able to get down on the floor, even I have to practice it too. For us to get down on the floor and get back up should be second nature, but most of us, because of technology and just, modern day, we don't. But I have to practice that myself a couple days a week. I've made it a pact with myself that every single day I do is like a deep squat, and I stretch and I get that groin stretch, and I do it at the kitchen sink. I do it in the bathroom, because there's certain days where I go, God, I kind of felt stiff doing that. And I go, no, I'm not going to let this happen. I do a squat every day because I don't want to lose it.
Right. And that's another thing too, as far as flexibility. I'm not very flexible, and I have a hard time too, and I'm awful at this, is that, you're in the gym for an hour and a half, and then you're like, you just want to leave. I don't want to take like 15 minutes to stretch.
Right.
And then, I consistently, I have tight hips, and I'm getting massages, every 2 or 3 weeks or every month or once a month, just to try to loosen things up, when that could be very easily resolved. Now, are you big into fascia? Are you like a fascia person, where you're like all about trying to keep your fascia nice and loose and pliable?
Not really. I mean, I have a Theragun and I have foam rollers and stuff, but it's probably like you. It's just one more thing to add to the list of things to do. Right. I mean, I do love it. And there are certain times where I go, yeah, you know what? I feel tighter. I did a leg workout or a glute workout, and I'm like, I need to get on the foam roller. Like, this is, when it hurts on the foam roller that you haven't been doing it enough, right? When it's painful. Right. So then I have and that aha moment, like, I need to be doing this more often. But I sidetrack too, and I definitely don't do that as often. But I keep stability balls in the house, like the big ones. Before I'd put stuff away and put everything neatly away so the house was tidy. But in the last year, we just moved into this house. I've made it a pact to, like, I have all my weights over at my standing desk, under my desk, so I can just grab them. I have all my resistance bands literally at the counter here. I have like 2 sets of everything. And then a resistance ball. And I keep it in the house, or stability ball. Because the kids use it too. And I literally lay over it and stretch, and I roll it side to side, and I do so if the TV's on, or if I'm in the kitchen and we're just finishing dinner or whatever, I'll sit on it just and grab it without even thinking. And I'll do stuff like that where I need to stretch my hamstrings, or I'll do like a lower back stretch constantly. And my kids use it. So it's just, I have things that are handy. So it's not a time thing. I don't have to go look for it and search for it. I have it like right there. I grab it and use it. So, I mean, if you did that in your house, maybe you do, it just encourages you to stretch more.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's one of my biggest faults. And I keep telling myself I need to give yoga a second chance, because I tried once and it was a disaster.
Oh, really? See, I love yoga. That's another thing. It's like, that'd be my dream. If I could just attend a yoga class every single day, I would. And I was on a roll just before COVID. I was doing yoga like 5 days a week, because it was really close to my house in Texas. It was like I had the best routine. And then COVID hit, and then it just kind of shut everything down. So I haven't been consistent because we moved. But yeah, I do love it. But that's, it's another thing. It's like time consuming. You have to drive it. Mm-hmm. That's why I have everything at home.
So let's talk about you've decided to go online with a fitness and nutrition course.
Yeah. I launched that in December. It's probably been like 7-8 weeks now. It's something I've been thinking about for a while, and I've had a couple of different people approach me on it. And before COVID, I was training people, obviously in person, in my own home studio in Texas, and before here in Scottsdale. And I love doing the in-person one-on-one. I mean, I absolutely love connecting with people and being there with them. And then COVID hit, and it took me down to just a few clients, and then starting to do things online. And I wasn't even really on Instagram and TikTok before COVID so much. It was more just personal stuff. I was posting here and there, not often. But that's when I jumped on, because I've got an older son that is pretty active on social media. And he said, Mom, you should post your workouts on there, like, consistently, because, I mean, everyone's doing it. I mean, they would be helpful. And I was like, all right. So I started doing it during COVID, and it just kind of snowballed. My following grew pretty quickly. And I enjoy it. And I thought, you know what? I can reach more people online. And I was having people reach out to me and saying, do you do Zooms? Throughout COVID, and I was like, even just doing a Zoom with 5 people is time consuming. You can't get that, a mass. And so I can reach more people online, and I can reach, now I have it in a way I can reach anyone, can be anywhere in the world. And I create, it's kind of something where I'm holding your hand all along the way. It's a tailor-made workouts for you to fit your lifestyle. And they're 20 minutes or less. If you want something longer, I'll make something longer for you. But, you feel it's a quick questionnaire, and I learn about you and what your lifestyle is like from morning to night. And then I tailor make the workout to you to fit your day. And same with the food. I don't believe in diet so much. I think any diet works as long as you stick with it. But I think you need to have food so that it fits your lifestyle. It need to be realistic. And so that's what I do is I have meals that you can choose from. And I've got a large library. I work with a registered dietitian. She creates all the meals because I'm not a dietitian. And so they're custom made for you, the meals and the workouts. And then I check in with people. They can check with me daily, and I have like little reminders and tips, and then they have 24/6 access to chat with me, and they can videotape an exercise and say, am I doing it right? Am I doing it wrong? Or someone got up the other day and they had a stiff back, and they're like, can you just give me a few lower back warm up exercises I could do? And I sent them a video real quick. I love doing stuff like that. I like connecting with the people like one-on-one and helping them every step of the way. So yeah, it's fun for me.
That's good. And they could do it at home, away, or even in the gym if they wanted to.
It's right on their phone. It's an app. Once they join my program, they receive an app, and they can take it to the gym. You can take it when you travel, and you can text it from wherever you are. So yeah, it's handy for sure.
Do you belong to a gym in Phoenix?
I don't anymore. When we first moved here, I went and joined LA Fitness because it's close to the house here. While we were unpacking, our gym wasn't put together. And I still do. I still get like when I walk into a gym, I still go, oh gosh. For me, it's like, I don't know if you probably feel the same way. It's like a playground. It's like I'm on holiday. Like I could be there all day because I want to use the equipment I don't have in my gym.
Right.
So it's like, oh gosh, there's that machine. I want to use that one. And then, I want to do it. I get distracted because I want to do so many things. I could be there for hours. So occasionally I may just do a day walk in just for motivation, just for a change of scenery. But right. I don't have a regular membership anywhere now.
Right. Okay. Yeah. I belong to Mountainside in Phoenix.
Oh, do you? Okay. Oh, okay.
I also belong to LA Fitness here in Charlotte.
So, oh, do you? Okay. Yeah. Yeah. The one here in Chandler is a really nice LA Fitness. It's one of the nicer ones I've seen. Yeah.
Any advice or tips for women, let's say over 50, who want to start? We are basically beginning of 2024, but what are some of your best little tips or hacks for people to get into a fitness routine or like some type of consistent movement style?
I would say first to remember to set realistic goals. Be realistic where you're starting from. Don't jump into it and you want to start running, start to run a marathon, or you want to do something crazy. Just to start off simple, start by walking briskly. If you're walking already, walk briskly or get more steps in. I would for sure say focus on strength training if you're not already doing that. Like you said, it's the fountain of youth for sure. So start off with body weight first and focus on getting the form down. You want to get that foundation down. And think of it as learning a skill, not like you're exercising and you have to work out. You're learning skills. So start off with the basic exercises and really get them down, get the form down. And you know what? I think a good tip is to videotape yourself. As much as you don't have to show it to anyone else, just for yourself. Like set up your phone, videotape yourself, and watch it back because you'll be surprised. I do it every day when I'm filming my videos, but I've learned a lot by videotaping myself. Like I'm like, wow. I thought my form was good there. I thought it was sitting lower. I'm not. And then you can critique yourself and correct yourself and see what you're actually doing.
Right.
And focus on just the large muscle groups, simple exercises, choose a few, and then just stick with it. I'd say cardio is just as important, but I think as we age, not the intense cardio. And I'm not saying it's bad for everyone. If you don't have a high stress life and you don't feel like, and you're sleeping well at night, I would say, maybe 1 or 2 days a week of high intensity cardio is good for you. and especially if you're trying to lose weight. But if you have a lot of stress in your life and you have difficulty sleeping, I would say stick with like a zone 2 cardio, where it's a brisk walking, or you're riding your bike, or something that you can maintain for 30 minutes or longer, where you're not completely winded. You can talk to the person next to you, and incorporate that in your weekly exercise.
Right.
And write it down. Make a plan. Like I tell my clients, make a plan and set it on your calendar as if it was a doctor's appointment. So whether that's Sunday and you want to write, you want to write your plan out for the week on Sundays, say Monday, Wednesday, Friday, you write that down on your calendar. You choose a time of day that works for you, where you're not going to get distracted, and you don't break that appointment. You work your day around that the best that you can, and put your phone down and just focus on it. So whether that's 10 minutes, just say, I'm going to put my phone down for 10 minutes. I'm going to do these 3 exercises. I'm going to do it Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and stick to it and just be consistent. And if you do that and you make healthy food choices, you'll see change over time. It's not a short-term goal. It's a long-term lifestyle, right? So it doesn't have to be like, I want to have this done in 2 months, or I want to lose weight in 3. Make short-term goals, but this is a long process, and it's just a lifetime, a lifestyle.
I like that, because it really is a lifestyle.
Yeah. And I think a lot of women are like, well, I've gained 10 pounds or I've gained 15 pounds. And all of a sudden I woke up, and now with menopause, I've gained this weight. I don't know where it came from, and I need to get it off. And they want to have it off like right now. And then they do something for 3 weeks, and they're, you can be consistent for 2 or 3 weeks, but then when they don't see, a big difference in 3 weeks, then they get discouraged, and they're like, well, I've tried everything. Nothing works. I've been doing this for 3 weeks. Well, you didn't put it on overnight, so you're not going to take it off overnight. And I just think they need to give themselves some grace and just be patient.
Right.
Just if you're just patient and you hang on there, I promise you, if you hang in there and you just do the little things and not want it so quickly, it'll happen,
Right. I also think,
that.
and I think you're probably a big proponent of this, is just having a community that you can surround yourself with, especially, even if you don't join a gym. There's a lot of things that you can do online. I know when I first moved to Scottsdale, I joined this like Facebook Scottsdale girls group.
Yeah.
And, I've gone on to some events. I've actually joined a hiking group through that too. And it's a great way to be around like-minded people. And that's the same with working out. A lot of these people, I'm not on Medicare yet because I'm still working, but, a lot of these gyms have, these silver sneakers and all these like specialty programs for free.
Right.
And you have free gym memberships that you can just go into a gym, and as long as you show your Medicare card, you can take these classes and stuff like that. And I see that, and I get a big smile on my face when I walk in. I'm like, oh my God, I just love it. I just love seeing it.
Yeah. That's the great thing about doing group exercise. Like when I was teaching spinning classes, I taught spinning in Scottsdale for years. It's like that. You get people of all ages coming into a spinning class for the first time, but eventually, over weeks and months, everyone becomes friends. And then they talk about something else that's going on in the gym or somewhere else. And then you get involved in like maybe a fun run or a walk or whatever, or at a yoga studio. Yeah. So you're right. Like surround yourself with people that have the same type of interest of wanting to stay healthy. And maybe even I say even like your spouse or your partner is like, get them involved in it too. Like I've had women that say, well, I want to go, I like to go for walks, but it's hard for me to do it this time or that time. And I said, well, invite your husband or your wife or your girlfriend, whatever. Ask them if they'll go with you and make a pact and like do your walks 3 days a week together. It gives you 15 minutes of time together. And then you both are encouraging. I mean, my husband and I do the same thing where he's like-minded. He's really physical. He works out. He's a CrossFitter. But, we push each other and we encourage each other. And he sees me doing things that encourages him. And I see him doing things that encourages me. So yeah, you're right. Like you need to surround yourself with people that are going to lift you up, right? Yeah. Make you feel better. Yeah.
Exactly. If people wanted to find you, where can they find you on social media?
You can find me at fit__mom of 7 on Instagram and on TikTok. I've got the same handle on everything. YouTube. I've got a lot of videos on YouTube as well, and I've got several beginner strength training workouts on YouTube. I think I have a lot of resistant band workouts. If on Instagram, my website is on there, so it's fitmama7.com is where my online training is, or coaching. That's where my new program is. They can find that, but it's all in my bio on Instagram.
That's great, because I think that for someone like you, I interview a lot of athletes, and when I came across your account, I just thought, I just love this, because, you truly are, a mom, and not a mom of a couple, a mom of 7, which just, I can't even imagine, even when your kids must have been younger. That's.
Well, it's funny when you say that. It's like I look back now too, and I go, God, that was a lot. That was a lot. You just do it. When you're in it, you do it. But I think I think moms need to remember that it's easy for us to step back and go, I have to do this for the kids and that for the kids. And yes, we do. But you have to put time aside for yourself. And that's one thing that I always did, is like, I'm not going to be a good mom unless I take time for myself. And I did it at home. I mean, when the kids were little, I didn't go to the gym. I did it in the house, and I would put them on the floor and they play with their toys, and they'd play around me while I did a workout. Or eventually I put some, equipment in the garage, and they'd come out in the garage and they watch me. I literally had the little, the bouncy ones that kids sit in, and I'd hang it from the ceiling, and he would sit and bounce while I worked out. And I was like, no, that was one thing that I was very adamant about. It's like, I need to get my workout time in, and they can work around it for a while. It's literally 45 minutes to an hour, 30 minutes. But your kids see you do that too. So my kids have grown up with that, and it teaches them to respect their body, and make your body it's an important thing to take care of your body. So it's a good message for your kids to see that. It's not a selfish thing, like you're taking time away from the kids. It's actually a good thing for your kids to see you doing that.
No, I agree 1,000%. And it sounds like that you are the ultimate, what's the word I'm looking for? If anybody's going to be, a person up there to look out for and to be inspired by, it's definitely you, with your kids and your.
I appreciate that.
And your lifestyle. I'm very appreciative of you sharing your life on, social media, because it just, again, validates that, age is irrelevant. Welcome to the new power decade, as we and some of my friends call it. And you're still, just trudging through life and, loving every minute of it. You look amazing. And, your mom too. I just think it's fantastic. And thank you so much.
I appreciate that. Thank you for having me. I can relate to my mom though, when she says, I don't know why everyone's making a big deal. I'm just doing what I've always done. And I feel the same way. I just turned 60 in November. And I remember growing up thinking 60 sounded so old.
Right.
I was like, oh my gosh. I was like 60. And to me, it still sounds old, but I'm 60 now.
Right.
It's just in my head. Growing up, 60 was an old person. And now that I'm 60, I'm like, gosh darn, I know what my mom feels like now, because I can't see myself feeling any different when I'm 70, 10 years from now. I feel stronger now, and I think better now than I did in my 30s and 40s. I feel good. I don't feel weak. I don't feel old,
And I have to watch myself, because I'll be somewhere or at work and I'll say, and then there's these old people, and I stop myself and think, oh my God, they're my age. What am I saying?
I know. I do the same thing. When my kids talk about someone that's old, or they'll go, with his mom's old. And I'll go, how old is she? She's 53. And I'll go, oh my God, you do know your mom is 60, right?
Right.
They go, Mom, you're not old. You're different. And I go, okay, I appreciate that. But I know it's but that just goes to show you that age is a mindset. It's just a number, right? Why should we define ourselves by a number? Because I feel great. And it's like when people say, well, you look good for your age. I mean, I get it. It's a compliment. I know what they're trying to say, but then on the other hand, it's like, it's kind of not a compliment. I don't know how to take that. It's like,
no,
you know what I mean? It's like,
I was once told that I was very well preserved for my age.
Oh God. Oh my God. That's rude. I don't like that. That's rude.
Okay. Anyway.
Yeah.
Well, Dalyce, thank you so much for spending a part of your day with me. I'll let you get back to the afternoon.
You're welcome.
I would love to catch up with you sometime in person. I have
For sure, Helen. We're close. Yeah.
my nephew. I'm in Old Town. I know you're in Chandler, but my nephew and his wife and family live down in Chandler, off of Gilbert Road.
Okay.
So,
That's close to me.
we'll have to get together for a coffee or a workout or something fun.
Would love it. Would love it. Thank you so much for inviting me. I really enjoyed chatting with you.
And I enjoyed having you.
Hope you heal quickly, because
I
I know
hope
that
so.
feeling.
I hope so.
Oh, I know that's miserable. Yeah.
All right. Take care.
I sure hope you enjoyed my conversation with Dalyce, and here are some takeaways. So, number one, if you're starting off in a fitness journey or workout program, Dalyce suggests to think of it as learning a new skill. It takes time to learn something new. Devote time to learn what exercises are effective for what area or areas you want to improve. Concentrate on proper form during the exercise. Make sure you are consistent exercising, and most importantly, have patience. You will see results, but you have to stick with it. Number two, Dalyce also says to set time aside each day for a workout. Make a plan and put it on your calendar. If you only have 15 free minutes, then make those 15 minutes count. The internet has a plethora of workouts at all different levels. If you have minimal equipment at home, then do a search for workouts that involve that equipment, like resistance bands. If you're brand new to working out, then start off with just using your body weight. The goal is to move. We all see so many people in life today who have had a hard time moving. They may be using a cane or a walker or even a wheelchair to get around. This is not the goal. If we stay stagnant, if we sit on the couch all day, our fascia starts to tighten up. We want our fascia to be loose and pliable. Moving, walking, stretching, taking yoga classes, using a foam roller, all these methods will help us stay flexible and pliable. All benefits, and so valuable as we approach our golden years. And finally, Dalyce reminds us that age is a mindset. If you think that you're old, then you will be old. If you think you can't do it, then you won't. Research is mounting that your outlook and personality, and frankly, how upbeat you are, have a profound impact on just not how you feel, but also how your cells age. Being narrow-minded with a negative mindset will only have an emotional, physiological toll on your body, but also a physical one. I've had the pleasure of interviewing amazing women, 70, 80, 90 plus years old, for my podcast who are thriving in life, mentally, emotionally, and physically, all because of their positive mindsets. It's never too late to literally change your mind and your way of thinking. The body does what the mind tells it to do, and it all starts with that one thought process. Your second chapter in life should be the best chapter in your life. And if you need encouragement, start putting Post-it notes around your house, on the bathroom mirror, on your refrigerator, on the door out to the garage to get into your car. That constant reminder that a healthy mind leads to a healthy body, which leads to a healthy, long life, is the goal. And in the end, isn't that what we all want? Now, if you'd like to reach out to Dalyce, you can catch her on Facebook at Dalyce, and it's Dalyce, Barnett Radtke, Radtke. On Instagram, she's at fit_mom of7. She has a website called fitmom7.com where you can check out her new one-on-one coaching program. And if you want to follow me, you can find me on Instagram at Helen_Fritch, IFBB Pro. I'm on Facebook at Helen Fritch. And then you can reach me also through my Age is Irrelevant website at www.ageisirrelevant.com. I hope you enjoyed this podcast. I look forward to many more great new podcasts in the upcoming year. Take care. And as always, age truly is irrelevant. Bye-bye.